We are live.
Welcome to Still Talking Uncut. I'm your host, Big Easy from Philbilly Moonshine, and here's your co-host, Sean Rigsby, Master Distiller
How we
from
doing?
Season 2, Episode 9, Vodka.
Yes, sir. So, what's on your mind, man?
I figured with everybody knows, this is our pilot episode. We decided to start us a podcast that, we're going with uncut, which means we're not cutting out anything, our mistakes, awkward silence, any of that. It's you're going to be a part of all that. So, and we're just here to talk about our experiences and hopefully pass on some knowledge and talk about where we came from and hopefully where we're going.
Oh yeah,
And
and gain knowledge too while we're at it, man.
you can
That's
never
that.
stop learning. Like if you stop learning, then you might as well stop making liquor.
That's right. Or you're dead. That's about the only time you stop. Either you quit making it or you die.
Pretty
Hell,
much.
or
If
or you
there's a
might
will,
die.
there's a way. If there's a will,
That's
there's a way.
that's right. So, how'd you get started, man?
Wait. First off, what are you drinking on?
I'm drinking on Tuckin' Red's Peach Cobbler.
That's some good liquor.
It is. It's flavored. It's around set 80 proof, but it's pretty good, man. It's pretty good.
Has it got fruit in the jar?
No, no,
No.
no. It's all flavored. I think it's got some. I think they use Monin flavoring. If I was a
Okay.
betting man, but I don't know, man. It's pretty decent. They're just right down the road from us. They're well, probably 10 minutes from me, probably
Yeah.
30, 40 from you.
Yeah. I'm sipping on some of our buddy Appalachian Hooch's apple brandy.
Oh, apple brandy. Is it aged?
Yeah, it's the one he aged. Remember, I
Oh,
didn't get to try it not aged, and then
okay.
he
What did you
quick
throw some
aged it.
tails in there?
Not in this one. I think he saved that for himself. But
Yeah. Hey,
uh, you
liquor's
know,
liquor, man.
yeah, I like my liquor clear. I'm not
Yep.
one to really throw some age on it or anything like that. So, but now to get back to your question, um, well, why don't you tell us how you got started? Because you're the celebrity here, Mister Moonshiner Discovery Channel.
Now, your shirt says otherwise.
uh,
So, I got started a long time ago. I went down to Kentucky, and well, we always have our family reunion down there. So I went down there, and my cousin was like, "Hey, you ever had any moonshine?" I'm like, "No,
how old was you?
fuck, early 20s, maybe
So was that about 40 or 50
20,
years ago?
20." Don't let this fool you guys. I'm still younger than him.
Hey, we're not comparing age here. Everybody knew that I ain't got no damn hair. I mean,
Probably on your ass, but that's beside the point.
that ain't going
But
on here. Nobody wants to see that or even hear about that.
uh, but yeah, so I went down there, and my cousin was like, "You ever had any moonshine?" I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Well, here's some peach." And I tried it, and it tastes like drinking uh, like a peach soda. So it wasn't strong. And my other cousin was like, "You want some moonshine? I got some real moonshine." And I was like, "All right." And he gave me some clear, and it's like, "Damn, that's good." And then it went from there to apple and watermelon. I mean, they had a bunch of different flavors and shit. And that's really where I was introduced to it at.
Did you puke that night?
Oh Lord. Oh yeah. I puked that night. The day after, I was sick. I mean, we were mixing beer, liquor, all kinds of shit. First time I ever
Oh,
had it, man. I was
I
like,
mean,
"Fuck, this is
hey,
good."
you're 20 years old, man. If it'll get you drunk, you'll drink it. Like,
Oh
I've
yeah.
been there.
Oh yeah. Yep. and but it was good though. Like it wasn't some trash rum that you get or any kind of shitty liquor. You know, it was real good. And so from then, I'd go come home and I'd go back and I'd get some. I'd get clear and I'd bring it back. I'd flavor it, make apple pie, make lemonade, whatever. And then I
How
don't know,
would you
probably a year.
was you drinking all that yourself? Like this is mine. I'm drinking all this. All the friends.
Uh,
You was life of the party for a little bit.
yeah, that's kind of how that started. And then I'm like, wait a minute, this could be lucrative, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so I done that for a while, and finally I was like, man, it can't be that difficult to make. And I spent $329 on 8 gallon still with a tower from Mile High, and
Was that
went
like
go ahead.
a milk can? Like a milk can?
Yeah, yeah, it
Okay.
was a milk can, and it wasn't a reflux; it was just a straight up tower.
Just
Uh,
a column condenser like a
yep,
Liebig or a
yep,
shotgun or
yep, my bag.
just a
Yep,
standard Liebig. So, I mean, as basic as you could get, you know,
yeah,
a milk can with a column and a Liebig.
yep. And I think, like I said, it was 300 and some dollars, and that was fucking 11, 12 years ago, whatever.
Yeah.
And I went to Kroger, man. I bought fucking like 6 or 7 gallons of that Carlo Rossi wine.
Hey, hey, man,
I
Carlo
think,
Rossi, that's cut your teeth on that. That's for sure.
yeah,
That's quick
and
turnaround. You know, that's turning palatable wine into
yeah,
some really good brandy.
yeah. But I didn't know any different, so I didn't really do cuts. I didn't do. I mean, it
Oh
was just
yeah.
shitty fucking liquor. I didn't.
Oh yeah, like, it comes out like, oh, that's drinkable. I just know I got to throw off some in the beginning. That's all I know.
Yeah, and it was weird though too, man, because it was like the first time, all those years of hearing about it and going down there and getting it. It was the first run. It was weird because I was by myself, didn't know anybody other than the people down there. You
Yeah.
know, Brian Silcott. I come across him on Facebook, so he'd helped me a little bit. But man, it was like weird because
Your first run was it just 100% solo? You did it by
yeah,
yourself? No,
yeah,
you know, like, and back then it's not like now to where you could hop online and watch some big dumbass make
no,
liquor or show you how
yeah,
to make it easily at home.
yeah. I mean, and it,
You was learning from
yep,
yourself. So
yeah. It was horrible, man. It came out. It was crystal clear. Uh, it it had a decent flavor throughout the run. I mean, it got better, but it was just there was something wrong. You know, I don't know if it was the kind of wine, if it was back sweetened, if it was the operator, probably.
I first run. Let's just say it was the operator. You know.
you know, um, but it was definitely an experience, man. It was kind of weird. You have the burner going, and you're not supposed to be doing it.
Hmm.
It's illegal, and you're like, fuck. What happens? I'm up there fucking looking for leaks and shit. And it's like, and then I'm like, wait a minute, you dumbass! It's
Yeah.
all clamped. There's gaskets.
You
There's no.
know, it's like your first girlfriend. You're not supposed to be kissing her because you're not old enough, and you behind the bleachers getting you that
Oh yeah,
quick kiss. You know, like, and then you're hooked.
absolutely,
You're hooked for life. You're chasing it for life. It's the same
dude.
way.
And then the funny thing was, I went from that to uh, what do you call that? Sweet feed. I,
Oh sweet
sweet feed. Now my dumb ass went,
molasses.
went and got the fucking ones with the pellets.
Oh man, hey, gotta learn somewhere, man.
I tripped every fucking step up the hill, man. It was shitty, but I finally got. Uh, I was reading and I seen 111, and I found out it was 1 pound of corn, 1 pound of sugar, one gallon of water was
Yeah,
like a basic.
that's what I preach. For all my early wine videos.
Hmm.
Like, you want to make easy wine at home? That's what me and Phil Billy preached for to make wine at home. 1 pound of fruit, 1 pound of sugar, 1 gallon of water, a little bit of yeast or a lot of yeast, whatever you want to use, and give it 2 weeks, and you get drunk. And
Yeah, exactly. It and it works, man. I mean, if you you may not get a whole lot of liquor out of it. I mean, just because it's only 1 pound per gallon, but
You can always
if it,
bump that up. You know,
yeah,
you want more
yeah,
liquor, just add more sugar.
or do a conversion, and you may not even
So,
need that much.
so how long was you on that 8 gallon can before you moved up to what was your next move? Cake still, copper pot.
So I found out that I could use a beer keg instead of that and use the same tower. So that didn't take but 6 months, maybe.
Double your capacity.
Yeah, right off the bat,
Right off the
and
bat.
it cost me $50.
And I tell you, the best thing for me about kegs are, and especially for beginners, if you're going to begin and learn with a keg, because if you scorch it, then
Get you a new
chuck it
one.
off and get a new one. If you kick it over, drop it, roll it down a hill, well, stand it up, make liquor with it. You could drive over it with your car and dent it, and you could still make liquor with it.
Yep,
Hell, I
that's
got
the
one. I got one that's got a hole in it that leaks when it gets hot, and that thing still makes liquor.
yeah,
So
it works. I mean, and that's the difference too between beer kegs and I think, sir, and copper pots. Beer kegs you can do whatever you want. Copper pots, you really gotta, every time you shut the fire off, you gotta pop the
yeah,
cap.
yeah, you're right. Kegs, you don't have to worry about them imploding and shit like that. And so, like I said, uncut here, man. This big Wookie looking motherfucker's on here eating during the podcast. This is how we're rolling. The kids in the background. This is 100% uncut.
Oh yeah, that's the whole point of doing it this way.
Uh,
What?
so, you ever ran anything bigger than than a beer keg, or is it
Oh yeah.
just
Oh yeah.
I'm a beer
Uh,
keg guy.
yeah. I ran some decent sized stuff. Huh? Sorry. Um, Now you're talking just as far as stainless or
Well, let's talk about the things you've ran. People might be intrigued to know. Um, like tell us in
I've
your
ran.
so you moved up from the milk can to a beer keg, and so what'd you use?
Oh,
What'd you use after the beer keg? Like, did you go to a 26 or a 50
yep,
or
yep. Went to a 26.
no? Was that a
Uh,
milk can also?
yes, sir.
It was also a
Yep,
milk can.
yep. And
And the milk cans are great, man. If nobody's used milk cans, they're wide mouth on the top, easy to clean,
yeah, you can't
stainless.
beat
So
them.
if you eat, you could scrub the shit out of them when you do scorch a little bit. You could cook in them. You could cook your mash in them.
If I didn't know any different, I'd say you've done that before.
I've never scorched anything.
Well, I can't say I haven't, but I
Uh,
haven't. I
uh,
haven't lately.
I'll tell you, in the beginning, we used to use brew bags, and we cooked with some brew bags a couple times, and oh man, that brew bag hit the bottom, and it singed. So we developed a false bottom to keep the bags up off the bottom when we would cook it,
Hey,
and then
it
ever since
works.
I switched over to making brandy, I never make anything else for myself except brandy.
Yeah,
I'm not,
yeah.
I'm gonna make what I'm gonna drink.
There's no point in making anything else unless you want to drink it.
Yeah,
And brandy is um, just so much better. Why drink corn when you got fruit? Why eat corn when you got fruit?
yeah. Give me a corn on the cob or an apple. I'm gonna eat that apple every time.
Exactly.
That's just
I
how it
mean, it
is.
tastes so much better.
So so you got into all this, learning how to make liquor on your own and developing your craft. At what point in time did you learn that you had some heritage behind all this? Did you know beforehand when you was a kid?
So it wasn't really when I went on the show. Well, it was before I went on the show. Because I told my family what I was doing. Obviously, I wasn't really supposed to say anything,
Yeah,
but
see, you got to tell your
with
family.
with all them down there, even a lot of them still didn't know that I'd messed with it. So, um, but I went down there for the reunion before, and I'm like, hey, they're it was for season one. I'm like, hey, they called me and asked if I want to go on this Master Distiller show, and I was like, yeah, I interviewed for it and all this. So, and then my aunt was like, well, your grandpa did that, and I'm like, no. And she said, yeah, he'd make it, and then when he had it, he'd flip the light on outside, and people would just come and get it. Then when he was out, he'd turn it off. He didn't have anything big. It was just some kind of a still pot he used on the stove. You know,
I mean, I'd imagine back then, there wasn't a whole lot of people live close
right?
down in the hills, and so just your neighbors would know, like, oh,
Yeah.
porch light on. I'm about to give me some liquor.
So it wasn't nothing big. I mean, as far as real big heritage, nothing like that. Um, my dad didn't drink. Well, my dad always told me not to drink it because he said it'd make you go blind. But I mean, I have some people in my
now,
family that,
so is the grandpa your dad's dad that you're
yeah,
talking about? Okay,
yeah,
it's
yeah. But it's
yeah,
ironic though because my mom's dad, I believe, made beer
okay,
or wine, one of the two. I can't remember.
that's real
Um,
common.
yeah,
Real common to you know,
yep. But
especially
even to
our
this day, I
parents,
mean,
grandparents.
um, I still have some people in my family that do bootleg it still to this day.
Okay,
So not me, but
yeah, yeah, for
the
sure.
people down south. That's one thing that when I got on the show, I pretty much bowed out of it. When it
Well,
the episode
makes
aired.
sense. Yeah.
So but that takes me into a whole other situation. I'm sure we'll talk about sometime down the road. What I'm doing now or whatever you
Yeah, maybe
want.
not. So, well, that's cool. You fell in love with it before you learned of your heritage, in it, and then you're able to look back and see your bloodline.
Yeah,
See that it's in your blood, and it's not too many generations before you.
right.
Like it's
Yep,
not like it was your great grandfather was,
yep,
making liquor on Plymouth Rock or anything like that. It was, and I'm sure he learned it probably from his dad, who learned it from his
yeah,
dad because
yep. Or
like
somebody right up the hill. I
yeah,
mean,
we could always be a buddy. I've developed many friends who come by like, hey man, um, can you teach me how to do this?
yeah.
So
And what's funny, man, is I should have wore the shirt that said fermentation is a science, but that's kind of like funny to me to wear it because just as well as I do that I'm not about science.
yeah, but in the end, it is science.
It is, but I just try not to look at it that way because I mean, if
Yeah,
I can do it, anybody can do it.
yeah. I mean, if you want to break it down to the nitty gritty, that yeast eats sugar and pisses
Yeah.
alcohol and farts CO2. So you're getting drunk off yeast piss and give me more. you know?
Oh hell yeah! So how did you get your start?
Well, let's see. Mine goes all the way back. I was about 15, and if you've listened to me on Hooch and Shua's podcast Untaxed, you've heard this story. So, but you're on our podcast now. I'm gonna tell it again.
Hell yeah!
So I was about 15, and yeah, we don't condone underage drinking on this podcast. This is just an old war story. Kind of like back in 1906, I lost 4 toes in the winter of '75. But anyways, so I was about 15, and old Phil Billy, cousin, me and Phil are cousins.
How
Uh,
old is he?
he's
Or
a few
much
years
older?
older than me. I don't know his exact age. He's a few years older than me,
He
and
still got hair, so.
it's, he does still got hair. I ain't had hair since high school, so
There
it's not that big a deal to me. I'm a seasoned bald veteran, so
you go.
ladies like it.
That's all that matters, I guess.
Wife likes to use the top of my head to fix her hair. It's an old mirror joke. That's an old mirror joke. Anyway, quit sidetracking me. We never going to get there. All right, so I was 15, and Phil Billy was living down in North Carolina at the time with his dad, and he come back one time, and we were partiers back then. if it'll get you drunk, you drink it. Like I said
Oh hell yeah,
before, you're 15 to 21 years old, man. You'd drink piss out of an elephant trunk if you thought it'd get you drunk
that's right.
every single time and not even think twice. Like, it could not get you drunk, but if they told you it would, yeah, you're gonna try it.
Oh yeah, I
So
used to
he,
drink. Go ahead.
yeah, so he comes back from North Carolina and he's got a crate, these little old bottles. It was, now I know they were like little 8-ounce bottles
Oh damn.
and like little small bottles, but he had like crates of them. And he handed me one, and I popped it open. I smelled it, dude. It was like sniffing a gas can. That shit was fuel. And I tried it, and that shit lit me up something fierce. Like when you're a kid, and you hit some grown man stuff.
Yep.
It was hot, burnt all the way to my belly, and it was instant buzz. It was amazing. Like it
Now, if
was
you could,
amazing.
would you say it's? If you look back, could you say it's over 100 proof?
Looking back, I would say it was in the 150 range.
No shit.
Oh yeah, like dude, it was it was pure, like,
Wow.
and it was like, I don't know what good liquor is. I'm 15. I'm drinking Mad Dog, you know, by the pint. Milwaukee's
Oh yeah.
Best. We're buying 12 packs of Milwaukee's Best for $3. Like, if it'd get you drunk, we'd drink it. And I just knew it was some high fuel stuff because I've gotten to old mom and dad's liquor cabinet over the years and tried, some Seagrams and some
Oh yeah.
vodka, and that shit was always good.
Yep.
But it wasn't that shit in the little bottles, man. That stuff in that little bottles, it'll light you up, and it lit me up, and it was like it was the greatest thing ever. And so
That,
and that comes and goes, and he had quite a few jars of it, and so we sipped on it and drank on it until it was gone, which didn't last long because we're all sitting around like, I'll drink this whole bottle, I'll drink this whole bottle, not
would you
knowing
say it
what
was? Go ahead.
not knowing what gold it was,
Right.
and I'd say it was corn liquor if that's what
That's
you
what I
were
was
going
getting
to
ready to
ask.
ask.
Yeah, oh
Yep.
yeah, it was corn liquor. You never forget
Okay.
that smell. You never forget that smell when you
Oh
smell
yeah.
some corn liquor. It's just, and that's the thing about corn. It has its smell to it, and
Oh,
it's corn
absolutely.
liquor.
Yep.
And so
I mean,
years go by, and I honed my alcoholism by chugging 40s throughout the years and drinking anything, and time comes to where the show Moonshiners come out, and just like a lot of people are going to say, I got real interested in it when show Moonshiners came out. Well, when the show came out for me, it was like, hey, this is bringing back something from your childhood that you
yeah.
enjoyed, and they're showing you that you're watching Tim and Tickle make liquor out in the woods, and they're just like, you know, corn, sugar, yeast, distillate liquor, and you look
Yep.
at Tickle, and he's a little skinny, clumsy dude, and you're like, man, nothing against Tickle, but he reminds me of myself, and he can make liquor. I can make liquor. I hurt myself. I run into shit. I stub my toes and break fingers, and like, and it's amazing watching it somebody happen to somebody else. It's not so funny when it happens to you, but
Right.
you see this dude make it, and so you watch the show for a couple years, and with the age of the internet, well, things start popping up on the internet,
Hmm.
and then you start seeing certain guys come along like George from Barley and Hops.
Yep.
Dude makes great videos. Love his videos. He makes great stuff. But God, man, oh man, George, get to the point.
Well, it's funny you bring that up. I just want to throw it out there. If nobody has seen George, make sure you get online and look. What's the video I'm thinking about? Aluminum.
Oh, using aluminum, and
Big controversy there, but
big controversy in aluminum. But yeah, I like George.
yeah.
I really like the content he puts out.
But he always says to research uh, what he or research what he tells you or prove it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when you hear something, you have to do your own research
Yeah.
Find out what works for you. Like, does that work for you? Because it might work for you, but it might not work well for somebody else. I'm a
Hmm.
big believer of take what I've shown you and do it your way.
Yeah.
Do,
See, I've go ahead.
yeah, do it your way, because that's what's going to work for you.
Absolutely. See, I've tried fermenting in 5 gallon buckets and just don't work. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I cannot ferment in a 5 gallon bucket. But you give me a 50 gallon or larger barrel all day long, no
Yeah,
problems.
my biggest problem with fermenting in the small vessels are they're never done at the same time. Like this one
Right.
will be done now. You got one that'll be done in a couple days, and the next one will take a week, and you're waiting on it. But anyways, so we're watching these guys make liquor, and then the popcorn videos out there, and him dancing around and making liquor, and it's just like you see it and you understand it.
Hmm.
Pot, thumper, condenser, cool it down, make liquor, and so you know, and really our YouTube channel started. Phil from Phil Billy, he made a biscuits and gravy video, and he was just dogging people about things, and it went viral. Like
Was he
he's
dogging
like,
the comments or was
no,
he
he was
dogging?
just like, this is the best gravy sausage ever, and you has to say sausage gravy, and if you tear up your biscuits, you're a dumbass, and you get people arguing in your comment section is what makes your
Yep.
videos take off. No matter if you're on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram, you create an argument, you get views because the algorithms read off that. And so we started making how-to videos on like how to fix electronics and things like that. And then we decided like, man, let's get a little still. Let's make our own liquor. Phil's a raging alcoholic, and I like to drink. And so let's learn how to make our own liquor, and let's show people how to make liquor quickly and easily.
Yep.
Like, let's give you all your info in less than 20 minutes. And so it started with that video, Turn Sour Mash. And you watch that video, you'll see us. We don't know what the hell we're doing. We know the recipe, and we know put it in the pot and distill it. But at the end, we're like, yeah, this low proof, it's cloudy. Dump it through a Brita filter and dump it in there. That's good liquor. And then we just take it and make apple pie with it.
Hmm.
Or we kept our high proof, and we knew to throw 4 shots off. But it's just that's where you start. And then
Yep.
they came up and we was like, let's make apple moonshine. We called it apple moonshine. We didn't even know it was called apple brandy back then. We didn't know it was brandy, and I ended up learning it was brandy. And I'm like, that's brandy, and it was so much better than the corn we made.
Yep.
And it just took off from there. And then we started like making wine. Like, and that was our niche to grow our channel, was let's make wine out of everything you can think of. So we took everything wine related and we made it anything you could think of, from pizza sauce to barbecue sauce, blueberry, blackberry, all your basics, and then all your wild stuff too. And
Okay.
like we did a Captain Crunch wine, and it was terrible. And I know you
One.
remember the old TikTok craze, Fruity Pebbles Moonshine. Well, when that
Hmm.
came up, I knew. I was like, yeah, I'm not even wasting my time. Cereal doesn't ferment. There's too much preservatives in it. Unless you want to get like some all brand stuff and ferment that. But then that's just a big waste of money. You might as well go buy a big old pot brand and do it like that.
Hmm.
And so we did that for a while. And, and really didn't really get into the keg stills much until after I got acquainted with you. And might as well tell a story about how me and old Rigsby met, because a lot of people think that, I like follow you because, you was on the show Master Distiller. But in all
Nope.
reality, Sean used to watch my videos before I even knew who Sean Rigsby was. So
Oh
we
yeah,
could
for years.
we could put that out there for the people who think it's
Yep.
the other way around. Not saying that I'm this. I'm not nothing like that. I'm just, let's set the record straight here for people who think, because
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a certain
Absolutely.
stigma about me and Sean. But
Yep.
so how me and Sean met was Sean's got a buddy, old Mac, old son, a good boy, man. Hey,
Oh
Mac's a
yeah,
good
he is.
dude. You'll hear us talk about him. We'll have Mac on one time too. We'll have
Oh,
old Patchy on
absolutely.
here. And so I'm sitting here and he watches our videos, and he watches my brew shine video where we take Milwaukee's best, we put it in that Chinese vever, and we turn it into moonshine. And our commentary during this video is just, it's Oscar worthy. And if you haven't, well, you got to go watch it. It's an older video, and a lot of new people that follow us, they don't get in and watch that because it's so much older, and they don't really, they don't dig that far back. It's hard to get past, Phil Billy's Indian Corn or Big Easy's Peach Brandy. It's hard to get that deep into our channel because we're up close to 200 videos now.
Hell yeah, that's quite a bit.
And so I get a message on Facebook because we do a review on some Jungle Gym stuff, and old Mac, he watches that video and he's like, "Man, Jungle Gyms ain't far from me." Jungle Gyms is down Fairfield, Ohio. In case anybody's wondering, it's an international food place. You can get food from all over the world there, and
Good
as
shit.
you can tell, I like food, so I'm going to go there and get crazy stuff.
And they sell beer and wine shit too.
Yeah, from all over the place. I went there once. It had a meadery right inside, and it was like carbonated mead. It was terrible. I was like, "You ruined this by putting carbonation in it. Just serve me the mead. It's so delicious when it's just mead." And so he messages me and he's like, "Hey man, are y'all from Ohio?" And, like, I saw y'all talk about Jungle Gyms, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm from Southwest Ohio." And he's like, "Bro, I'm from Southwest Ohio." And he's like, and come to find out, he lives 15 minutes north of me. And so we start talking, and he's like, "Hey man, me and my buddy Sean, when we watch your videos, first video I shared to him was your brew shine video, and we laugh and that shit was gold." And I'm like, "Well, that's cool." And he's like, "Well, my buddy Sean, I don't want to put his business out there, but he's going to be on Master Distiller, and I was big into that because it's part of the Moonshiners." And I'm like, "Well, shit, man, that's cool as hell." Tell him, shoot me a message. He wants to, make some YouTube videos or bounce some ideas off each other. And me and Patchy start hanging out, and we become really good friends. And I was getting parched. It was time for a drink. And, me and Mac, we become good friends. And then, it evolves, and I meet Sean, and we all start hanging out. And what a godsend of somebody of information that I can learn, just the things I've asked Sean, or the things I've learned from Sean are amazing. And
it goes both ways too.
The biggest part for me was, there's not that many people around here that do what you like to do. Yep. And it's hard to, especially people you can trust. You're not just going to hop on a chat board and be like, "Hey, who wants to come to my house and drink my homemade liquor?" Yep. And exactly. You're a little reserved, and so it was cool to meet some people, and then it was like just bouncing ideas off, and this was about a year and a half ago, and and the cool part about it is like we became friends from it, and now we bounce liquor and ideas off each other. We talk shit to each other like family, and
oh yeah,
and, like no matter what, it's this. If it wasn't for Patchy stalking me down, then me and Sean wouldn't be friends, and me and Patchy wouldn't be friends. So sometimes it's cool to have a stalker, even though it's a big 500-pound stalker. Yep. It's still good. What?
So when I used to watch your guys' videos, I, for whatever reason, Phil Billy, I instantly thought it was Philadelphia.
Okay, it makes sense.
I didn't think Phil. I just didn't put two and two together.
And, and that's how we came up with the name. It was Hillbilly, Moonshine, Philbilly, because his name's Phil. So it made sense, it was too catchy, it was too ringy. So it worked out pretty well.
So how long you guys been doing that now?
I'd say we started our YouTube channel about 5 years ago, but we didn't, and like we spent about a year making content.
Okay.
before we really, divulged into it. So, we spent quite a while making content. And then our first year was we were uploading our saved content along with new content. So we just pumped it out real hard our first
Hmm.
year. So, I would say as of now, we've probably been in alcohol for about 8 years.
Yep.
And it all starts with, Phil loves to make beer. And I was
Okay.
always intrigued to the process, even though I hate making beer because I hate making beer. It's too much work for too little yield. You got to keep everything
Yeah.
clean and sanitized. And
So
one
don't go
little
bad.
thing, yeah, it sours and then it's trash. And so for me, it's like, look, man, I'll make liquor. It ain't sanitized. It's infected. Cool. It's going to taste better this time. It's going to taste different. I ain't
Yeah.
sanitized nothing. Like, oh, yeah, I rinsed it out with cold water. That's how I sanitized it when I was done. And I filled it
Fuck.
back up and it was ready to go. So for
Fuck people.
me,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
for me, I'm lazy. So um, shine's the way to go. It's a lot of
Yep.
work, though. It's a lot of work.
It is, but once you get the work out of the way, all you gotta do is sit down and reap the benefits.
So you're running 26. You ever run any 50s?
I have
Barrels or copper pots or
both, both actually. I the first 50 I ever ran was a yeah, it was one Donnie Benton built. He was on the main show Moonshiners, I think
yeah.
season 8. Him and Teresa from
I'm looking
Beattyville,
forward
Kentucky.
to meeting him this time down in Beattyville. I didn't get a chance to meet him last year because of the flood and the rainstorm that
Yeah,
came. So
yep. But he built it, and I'll tell you what, man. As far as pot thumper and worm goes, it was the easiest still to run, and it heated up quick, and I don't have anything bad to say about it. It was
okay.
that to this day has been my only all copper pot I ever had, and I went and traded it to a guy that lives in Slade, Kentucky, just up the road from Beattyville, and he'll actually be there. Um,
Regret, regret,
yeah,
regret. How much regret?
150%.
How much regret? I
Yep.
could see it in your face when you spoke on it. It was like somebody took away your puppy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It was a real nice still, man. A lot of people they run by thermometers, and a lot of people don't.
mhm.
Um, when I went down there, and Donnie was like, "You ever used a thermometer before?" I said, "Well, my very first still." He's like, "Okay, well, there's two of them in it, one in the pot, and then one in the cap." And he said, "Do you?" Well, he's like, "You don't put any grain in your pot, right?" I said, "No." He's all right. Well, put the heat to it, turn it up. He said, "Watch the thermometer on the pot, not the head." He said, "The one on the pot, as soon as that pot temp hits 190, turn your heat way down." And you turn the heat way down, and it crept up slowly from 190. He said, "As soon as it hits 197 in the pot, you'll have liquor come out." Dead on.
So you
Dead.
learn you learn early to use your thermometer as a reference
Yeah.
and run by what's coming out of the end of your worm. I think too many people get caught up on temperature,
Yep.
temperature, temperature. It's like, look, man, that thermometer is in your headspace. That's not the temperature of your liquid. And
Right.
even with a thermometer in your liquid, you're getting a temperature of an area that big.
Yeah.
Like your
Yep.
thermometer's in that far, you're getting the temperature there, not so much. And
Abs-
and so for me, and that's something I learned from you was to run your thermometer as a reference and run
mhm.
your flame or your heat level based on what's coming out of the end of your worm.
Now, do you run? How do you run as far as stream drip wise and all that? You
Oh,
know.
I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping. Give me a stream, man, and we'll talk about that in another show. Next show, next show topic is how do you run your still, and why do you run it the way it is, and what do you prefer, and how you prefer to run. Do you strip? Do you thump? Do you plate? That's what we're going to talk about in the next show. I think we've kept everybody here long enough. Um,
Oh yeah.
I hope everybody's enjoyed our little spiel. You know, we hope to give y'all a little more. If we can, have some guests on,
Yep,
divulge
absolutely.
in a little more on why we do things the way we do, and pick some brains of some people who are much better at this than us.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
you know,
That's
Sean's got a list of um, guests. So
yeah. It's we're going to be geared towards not. We don't ever advocate for illegal, you know, distillation or nothing like that. But what we're here for is we want to learn what happens behind the scenes. You know, we want to see what people that don't work in distilleries, what they do, how they do things. You know, we want to hear the untold stories of the moonshiners, not distillers.
yeah, we want the mistakes. We want like on our video, we're putting tails in our end product in our very first moonshine video because we don't know shit. But we
Hmm.
left that in there. We could have went back and edited it out, but that ain't what it's about. We want it raw, we want it uncut, and we want you to learn from our mistakes. And then if I make a mistake, I want you to tell me what I did wrong, so I can learn from it. Just don't be an asshole when you tell me. And, you know, I'm all about constructive criticism, but you know, there's a way. There's a way. So,
That's right. All
well,
right.
one final drink.
Yes, sir.
You have a good night, Sean.
Yes,
And
sir. You do the same,
everybody
brother.
listening, hope you all have a good night, and we'll see you next week. This
Sounds good.
is Still Talking Uncut. Shine on.